Hey everyone, welcome back. Get ready, because we're about to take a deep dive into some seriously ancient wisdom we're talking out, the Kybalion and Hermetic philosophy.
It's going to be a wild ride.
This stuff has fascinated people for centuries, and today we'll uncover why.
Yeah, it's incredible how these ideas from ancient Egypt and Greece still resonate so much today.
Totally. It's like we get to peek behind the cosmic curtain, which is exactly what the Kybalion promises. But first, who is this Hermes Trismegistus? Why should we care what he had to say?
Imagine a Gandalf of spiritual wisdom, a philosopher, mystic, and sage all rolled into one. They called him Hermes the Thrice Great, a master of masters. His influence was everywhere: ancient Egypt, Greece, alchemy, astrology, even Renaissance magic.
Wow, what a legacy. So Hermes is like the architect, and the Kybalion is the blueprint. Is it like a rule book with all sorts of complicated rituals?
Not at all. It's more like a spiritual Swiss Army knife. It's got practical tools and principles, but no rigid rules.
Okay, now we're talking. So it's more about empowerment, not dogma, right? Like, you're giving me the tools, but I get to choose how to use them.
Exactly. It helps you figure things out for yourself. It presents powerful concepts, but the magic happens when you apply them to your own life.
Makes sense. But these teachings were kept secret for so long. Why all the secrecy? Was it like a secret society?
Not exactly a secret society, but they were very careful about who they shared this knowledge with. Hermetic masters believed in passing it down directly from teacher to student, almost like a whisper from one generation to the next. They wanted to be sure the student was ready for that knowledge and wouldn't misuse it.
So it was about protecting the student. Like, you wouldn't give someone a dangerous tool without making sure they knew how to use it safely.
Precisely. Getting these ideas wrong could have serious consequences, so they kept things hush-hush.
Interesting. Did it stay hidden, or did it make its way into other spiritual practices?
Oh, it definitely spread. Think of it like a secret ingredient that subtly flavors other traditions. Kabbalah, Gnosticism, even some Eastern philosophies.
Give me an example. How can we see this influence in action?
Have you heard the saying, as above, so below?
Of course. But how's that Hermetic?
That statement sums up Hermetic thought perfectly. The idea that the microcosm mirrors the macrocosm. What happens in the vast universe is also happening in our own lives, just on a smaller scale.
So our lives are a tiny reflection of the universe, and the universe is reflected in us.
Exactly. It highlights how connected we are to something way bigger than ourselves. This idea pops up in tons of belief systems, too. It's like a universal language.
It's amazing how Hermeticism provided that common ground, a starting point for everyone. But if it's so influential, why isn't it more popular?
Great question. It's like mainstream appeal was never the goal. Hermeticism thrives on exclusivity, like a small but mighty force. It's about personal journeys and deep inner exploration, not about converting everyone.
It's more about whispering wisdom to those who know how to listen.
Exactly, like a hidden gem waiting to be discovered.
Okay, for those ready to unearth that gem, what are some key things to keep in mind when approaching the Kybalion? What might surprise them?
If you're drawn to the Kybalion, certain principles can really shift your perspective. One of the most powerful, the principle of mentalism.
Mentalism.
Basically, it suggests everything starts in the mind. Our thoughts shape our reality.
Wait, are you saying our thoughts influence our experiences? That's a bold claim.
It is.
Yeah.
But that's the core of mentalism, recognizing the power of our minds. It's like that saying, whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right. Your mindset is everything.
That's a powerful concept, and it connects to as above, so below, right? If our thoughts shape our reality and we're all connected to the universe, then maybe our thoughts are more powerful than we realize.
Exactly. That brings us to another big one, the principle of correspondence. As above, so below. This principle encourages us to see the connections between our inner and outer worlds. Those universal laws play out in our everyday lives.
Instead of feeling separate from the universe, we're part of it. Our thoughts and actions are part of this huge cosmic dance.
You got it. We're not just watching, we're active participants.
This is deep stuff. But does the Kybalion tell you what to believe? Or does it guide you toward your own understanding?
Great question. It gets to the heart of what makes Hermeticism special. Unlike some religious texts with strict rules, the Kybalion is like a roadmap for self-discovery. It gives you the tools, but encourages you to use them to figure things out for yourself.
So it's more about trusting your intuition.
Exactly. It's about discovering your own truth, your own unique path.
It's about discovering your own internal guidance system, not following someone else's rules. I love that. It's empowering.
Right. That's what makes exploring the Kybalion so exciting. It's not passive. It's about actively exploring.
It's about actively engaging in your own spiritual growth, your own self-discovery. So for those who want to unlock the Kybalion secrets, what's the most important thing to remember? How do you really get it?
The Kybalion says the lips of wisdom are closed, except to the ears of understanding.
Profound. What does that mean for someone just starting? What does it mean to have ears of understanding?
It's not enough to read the words.
Yeah.
You have to truly listen. You need an open mind and a willingness to do the work. You have to let the material resonate deep inside you.
Be an active participant in your own understanding.
Yes, don't just absorb the information. Seek it out, question it, see how it applies to you.
So for those ready to embark on that journey, what are some practical takeaways from the Kybalion? We've talked about mentalism and correspondence. What other gems are hidden in this text?
Well, you already hit the big two. Mentalism and correspondence are fundamental. But let's look at another principle I think you'll love, the principle of vibration.
Okay, vibration. It seems a little new agey, like something you'd hear at a yoga class.
I know, right? But it's not what you think. The Kybalion says that everything in the universe is always moving, always vibrating. Nothing is ever truly still.
So everything has its own energetic frequency. That's kind of mind-blowing when you really think about it. How does this vibration affect us, though? It seems abstract.
It's more practical than you think. Think of it this way. Your thoughts and your emotions, even your physical state, they all have a vibrational frequency. And those frequencies can actually influence your experiences.
So are you saying that being in a high vibe state, like being joyful or optimistic, can actually attract good things to my life?
Yeah. But it works the other way, too. Dwelling on negative thoughts or feeling resentment can bring more negativity into your life. It's about matching your energy to what you want to experience.
That makes a lot of sense. You attract what you put out, but instead of being vague about it, the Kybalion actually explains how it works, through vibration.
Exactly. It gives you the power to take control of your experiences. Want to change your life? Start by changing your vibration. It sounds simple, but it's really powerful.
This is really interesting, but it's a lot to take in. There are all these principles, and they're all connected. What if someone's just starting with the Kybalion? Where should they start? Is there one principle that's like the key to all the others?
That's a great question. And the Kybalion actually talks about this. It says all these principles work together. But if you need a starting point, I'd say the principle of mentalism is most important.
Why mentalism? We talked about how our thoughts can shape reality, but why is that so important?
Because it all starts in your mind. If you can learn to control your thoughts and develop a positive mindset, you can use all the other principles more effectively.
So mentalism is like the foundation. It's where you start making decisions about what energy you're putting out into the world.
Exactly. You attract what you vibrate. Start by getting control of your thoughts, and you'll be amazed at how your life changes.
Wow. It's like the Kybalion is a guide to unlocking your full potential, not just spiritually, but in every area of your life.
I think so. That's what's so cool about Hermetic philosophy. It's not just some abstract knowledge. It's practical wisdom that you can use every day.
Speaking of practical wisdom, what about the principle of polarity? I'm curious about this one.
This one's a game changer. This principle explains how everything has two sides. Light and dark, love and fear, hot and cold. Everything exists on a spectrum with two opposite poles.
Okay, that makes sense. But how is that helpful? It seems like, just how things are.
The key is understanding that these opposites are not absolute. They're relative. And even more importantly, you can actually move between those poles.
What do you mean? Can you give me an example?
Okay, let's say you're feeling discouraged about a project. You're stuck in a negative loop and think it's going to fail.
Ugh, I've been there. You just want to give up completely.
Exactly. But instead of being stuck in that energy, you can use the principle of polarity. Remember that discouragement is just one pole on a spectrum. The opposite pole could be feeling enthusiastic, excited, or inspired.
Okay, I see what you're saying. But how do you actually make that shift? It's not easy to go from feeling totally discouraged to feeling inspired instantly.
You're right, it's not always easy. That's where the other principles come in. You can use the principle of mentalism to consciously shift your thoughts away from the negative and towards what's possible.
So it's about realizing you have a choice, right? I don't have to just accept those negative feelings. I can actually choose to see things differently.
Exactly. You're not stuck. You can always shift your vibration, move towards something more positive and helpful.
This is amazing. The Kybalion is like a guidebook for dealing with the ups and downs of life. We can choose our thoughts, change our energy, and create a better reality for ourselves.
You got it. And there's one last principle we should talk about, one that ties everything together, the principle of gender.
Wait, gender. In the Kybalion. Okay, this should be good. I'm definitely intrigued. But gender, help me out here.
I know, right? It's not about what you might think. When they talk about gender, they mean the masculine and feminine principles that are inside all of us. The Kybalion says these principles aren't about our physical bodies or society's expectations. They're fundamental creative forces.
Oh, okay. So more like yin and yang, those opposing but complementary energies.
Exactly. Think of the masculine as the active force, the energy of action, focus, and willpower. The feminine is the receptive energy. It's about creativity, intuition, and nurturing.
So it's not about being one or the other, it's about finding a balance between the two.
Exactly. The Kybalion says that to reach your full potential, you need to balance both the masculine and feminine principles within yourself.
So finding a balance between action and being receptive, between doing and just being, that's powerful stuff.
It is. It's about using the power of both of these principles to make your desires a reality, to create a fulfilling life that's true to who you really are.
This has been an incredible deep dive into the Kybalion and Hermetic philosophy. It feels like we just scratched the surface, but that makes me even more excited to learn more, to see how these principles can impact my life.
I'm so glad you feel that way. And remember, this journey of self-discovery never really ends. Keep those questions coming, keep exploring, keep those ears of understanding open.
As they say in the Kybalion, the lips of wisdom are closed except to the ears of understanding. That's all for today's deep dive into the Kybalion, everyone, and we hope you enjoyed this peek behind the cosmic curtain. And remember, the real magic happens when you apply these principles to your own life. Until next time, keep seeking, exploring, and keep those ears of understanding wide open.